Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Big news for the Jacksonville Jaguars today, the NFL trade deadline. Jakobi Meyers, a man they just played against, wide receiver formerly of the Las Vegas Raiders, is now on his way to Jacksonville. In exchange, the Jaguars send a 4th-round pick and a 6th-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. Who is Jakobi Meyers? What are the Jaguars getting with Jakobi Meyers? Our guy out in Las Vegas is Adam Hill of the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and Adam is once again kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Adam, we talked last week. I thought that might be it for a while. Obviously, the two general managers had different ideas.
Yeah, that's actually something we talked about, at the game in the press box on Sunday watching it. We were kind of looking around for where the GMs were, seeing if they were talking, because with Travis Hunter going down, Jakobi Meyers being available, it made sense. Like, the Jaguars made sense as a destination. So kind of funny that they were playing against each other. Every time he would make a catch in the game or make a block, there'd be a comment like, "Oh, I'm sure Jacksonville was impressed by that." And sure enough, that's what ends up happening. So the Jaguars get a wide receiver, the Raiders get draft picks, which they desperately need. And by the time we're done talking about Jakobi Meyers, your listeners might think I'm his agent, because I don't have any bad things to say about Jakobi Meyers.
Well, we're going to talk about him in a moment, but first and foremost, I know he had requested a trade this offseason. I believe he requested a trade again a few weeks ago. Why did he want out of Las Vegas? Why wasn't it working out there for him?
Yeah, and both those were through me, I think, apparently in the media. So I guess I'm partly responsible for that. But I think there's a couple reasons. One is obviously money. I mean, that's at the forefront of anything. Jakobi Meyers has been like the perfect soldier. Whatever you have asked of him, whatever the Raiders have asked of him, through some really interesting times the last couple of years here, through coaching changes and just weird things happening around this team, especially in the wide receiver room with Devontae Adams. If anybody watched the documentary Wide Receiver, there was a lot going on. And he was the perfect citizen, the ideal role model through all of it, not to mention putting up numbers on the field. You know, his first 1,000-yard season last year, everything he's done on the field in terms of blocking and being a good teammate and being a leader and all of those things. In addition to that, it's on the field, off the field. He's been almost perfect for the team. And his contract is to this year, and several other guys got extensions, and he did not. And he was, not thrilled about that. He was a guy that they left as, sitting on the last year of his contract, and he was coming off a year where he was clearly the wide receiver one and was not getting paid like it. And, he was very quiet behind the scenes. He went to the team and told them he wanted security. He wanted a long-term deal. He would do a deal for less money. He just wanted to be around for a couple of years and have that kind of security, and they wouldn't do it. And then he kind of asked, like, what about a Trey Hendrickson type deal where, hey, just throw a couple extra dollars at me. You have plenty of room under the cap space or under the salary cap. You've got space. You got flexibility. Like, just make it so it's worth it for me this year. And they wouldn't do that either. And so it was pretty clear that the team wasn't committed to him long term, and that's fine. But he wanted that, and he made it clear. And then when he made it clear behind the scenes and there was no movement and no action, it came out publicly. And he didn't want to talk about it a lot. It was something where if you asked him about it, he would say, "Hey, look, I'm here for the team. I'm a player. They do what they want to do." But then every once in a while, 2 weeks ago, he told me on the record, "Yes, I definitely still want out." Before the season, he had, there was a report and he confirmed that. So he hasn't been loud about it. He hasn't made a scene about it, but it's been clear that he didn't think it was going to work here long term, and he didn't think they wanted him, and so he wanted to get out.
Adam Hill, Las Vegas Review-Journal. He's our guy out in Vegas when it comes to the Raiders. The Jaguars acquire Jakobi Meyers from the Raiders earlier today. All right, Adam, the type of player now, what type of wide receiver are the Jaguars getting with Jakobi Meyers?
So incredibly dependable. Last year, it was actually kind of a mini controversy because I believe he was the only receiver in the league that didn't have a drop. He actually kind of pointed out to us while we were doing a story. He's like, I think there was one I should have had that they didn't count as a drop. So he's like very accountable even about that, saying, hey, I don't want that credit for that. I think I should have caught one, and it just didn't count against me. but certainly dependable. Always in the right place, always where you need him to be. Will always make the catch if he can. And then everything else he does. I mean, obviously, he's a fantastic blocker. That's pretty well documented. A willing blocker. He's more than willing to get up in front of the play and block downfield for his running backs, for his other receivers. All the dirty work that you need from a wide receiver, he does. And so last year, him getting that 1,000-yard season, you could tell the team was so invested in that and so wanting that to happen as a reward for everything else that he does. Because now, in addition to doing all the dirty work and so not being a diva about it as a receiver, he also had the numbers to go along with it as the number one receiver for the Raiders last year. So he's not a Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, obviously, but he was clearly the Raiders' number one receiver. But he's also a guy that's willing to do everything else for the team on the field that you could possibly ask him. And don't forget, he's a guy that was a quarterback in college, and so every once in a while he can throw you a pass downfield too, run a trick play. But he's just a great leader, a great player. I think the Jaguars are getting somebody that they're going to love in the locker room and the community, everything else. He's been an absolute role model here for this team. And again, beyond that, like I kind of mentioned it, but when Davante Adams was having his issues with the team, Jakobi Meyers is the one that kind of held not only the wide receiver room but the offense together. And eventually Davante was gone, and Jakobi was the guy in there. But he held them together through some tough times, not only in the room but in the locker room in general.
And to the point as well, I believe Jakobi Meyers turns 29 next week. He has 33 catches this year for 350-plus yards. How would you assess his performance in 2025 to this point?
Well, first of all, he's been injured a little bit. He's dealt with some knee issues, so he's healthy now. And I think we saw that the other day. He didn't put up big numbers, but really some key plays that he made in that game and picking up some first downs to move the chains for the Raiders. He hasn't been like dynamic and explosive, like that hasn't happened, but I think that's more of a function of the offense. Geno Smith has really struggled. The Raiders have struggled as a team. They just haven't been consistent, haven't been able to move the chains regularly, and that's really what Jakobi Meyers does. So I would say, the numbers aren't necessarily there for Jakobi, but the performance has been there, and any slip into his numbers is a result of the team, of the system, and of Geno Smith.
Final moments, Adam Hill of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And there obviously is a connection here in Jacksonville. Edgar Bennett, right, who coached Jakobi out there with the Raiders, obviously very familiar with him, so there certainly was a connection already.
Yeah, and I'd imagine EB was going to bat for Jakobi. There's already a good relationship there. And I think anybody, you've kind of heard it from me, anybody that has been around Jakobi likes him and wants to work with him and wants to root for him and all those things. So no surprise that a former coach, it was a former coach that brought Jakobi here to Las Vegas. It was Josh McDaniels, who was his offensive coordinator in New England, wanted to bring him here. So people that have worked with him want to work with him again. There's no question about that. He's that kind of guy. And I don't know if the clip made it out to you guys, but Jakobi Meyers was not happy with the question that I asked on Sunday. I just want to relate this and made that very clear in the presser. And the kind of guy he is that we talked afterward. He came over and he said, "Look, I just want to talk about that. Here's what I was thinking." And my question was just about if he took the time on the field on Sunday, looked around and said, "Hey, this might be my last time here. Might be my last game here." And he didn't want to answer that question, and that's totally fine. But he did talk about it afterwards. That is just the kind of person he is. He didn't have to do that, but he did want to say, "Hey, look, this is why I didn't want to talk about it. This is why I didn't want to answer that question. We're cool, but that's just what I was thinking." So I'm just describing to you the kind of person that he is. That he didn't want to just let that sit there. That he didn't like the question. He wanted to talk about it, and that was very cool of him, and this is the kind of person he is.
Yeah, Jaguar fans will love to hear what you're saying. Adam, final question. We don't normally get to talk with the team the Jaguars just played. What a game on Sunday. Obviously, the Jaguars are very thankful Devon Hamilton got his big paw up there because Tyler Lockett was wide open in the back of the end zone. How is that loss being looked at out in Las Vegas?
Well, in the end, I think the Raiders fans should be happy he got his hand up there, too. Look, they're playing for draft pick at this point. There's no hope of a playoff run or anything like that. So, in the end, I think the ideal scenario for the Raiders is an exciting loss where fans can get fired up about the team and know that there's some some guys like Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers who are a foundation for the future, and they can score points and they can be exciting, but they still were able to lose and, work on that draft pick a little bit in the game. So I think perfect scenario for the Raiders. Like, that's not how they're talking about it in the building. In the building, they're saying, another missed opportunity and they really wanted to win and all those things. But I think for the, fans who are thinking about the future, probably pretty happy with the way that game played out.
Adam Hill is our guy out in Las Vegas. He's with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. The Jaguars acquired Jakobi Meyers earlier today from the Las Vegas Raiders. Adam, thank you for joining me on short notice. Really appreciate it, man, and we'll talk down the road.
For sure. And if you want to talk about the struggles of the Florida front court that I watched last night out here in Vegas, we can do that at some point too.
Yeah, that was rough. I mean, you were in the building for Florida, Arizona. Give us 30 seconds. Boy, that freshman for Arizona was unbelievable.
Koa Pete is a monster. What a performance by that guy. I think the greatest debut in college basketball history for a freshman. It was the numbers were there, obviously, against the guys that he did against. Very impressive. Florida will be just fine. Todd Golden's great. But, man, great performance by him and fun atmosphere, too, to start off the college basketball season.
Adam, you're the man. Thank you as always, bud.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Hacker here, and thank you so much for watching this video on the 1010XL Jaguar YouTube channel. Be sure and like, subscribe, and keep it locked right here on all the 1010XL channels on the 1010XL YouTube network.